Shamaya, you did it.
STL Music.
Is that good? Welcome back to the show. So listen up.
Big breaking news out of the
Shamaya, you did it.
STL Music.
Is that good? Welcome back to the show. So listen up, we back in the game. Sweep the league, we got a flame. Motivated to the fullest every single day. We wake up, get it in every way. Rifling two in the global inspiration. Talk this sports and top news, no hesitation. Sweep the league is back. We always coming back, that's a fact. Wanna tell them that STL Music, mama, we did it, where we at? Coach Jill in the house with the flow so tight. Every round, rock stats, we unite. Yeah, the best show, Monday through Friday. If this ain't different, they lying. We got the energy. When I say sweep, you say the league. Sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go.
Hey, it's Rain Fernandez, and you're watching Sweep the League. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and Facebook at Rain Fernandez, Rayne Fernandez.
Hi, it's Sherilyn, and you're watching Sweep the League TV. Follow me on Instagram at official Sherilyn for more content.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
Sweep the league TV where legends collide. If the Cowboys fall short, we'll still ride the tide. Like Jordan in the clutch or Brady's last play, we bring the fire, keeping fans in the fray. Coach Gio and Rudy calling the shots, with Derek Coventry, Hall of Fame thoughts. So hit that subscribe, don't sit on the bench. Get in the game, every highlight's intense. The live stream's on till your friends don't delay. Like Kobe in the fourth, we're here to play. Sweep the League TV, where greatness resides. From the blogs at the drives till my heart's on the rise. We're all in on sports, NBA, CFB, and more for fans. By fans, it's the show you'll adore.
Test. There we go. Can you guys hear me now? All right, I think we can hear me now. Sorry, guys, if the mic is not working. Shoot me a message in there on the comments. Let me know if the mic's working or not, if we're good to go. I'll check here in just a second, but doing my best to get the prime time look here. Deion Sanders at his finest. What do you guys think? Should I put my name in the running for NFL coach for the Dallas Cowboys? I've got the look. I've got the Deion look. I don't have the bling. I got the silver. He's got the gold. I got the regular glasses. He's got the sunglasses. But you know what? I got the charisma and I got the charm like prime time. We're going to get into some Cowboy talk. Why? Because Micah Parsons. We've been talking about Micah Parsons. Were they going to deal him? I don't know. Draft day's coming quick. There's a couple of guys out there. Micah being one of them. We'll talk about him. Also, Jalen Williams. I'm going to say he's on his way to superstardom. The kid is good, but I got to give him that Randy Moss, shout out to Randy Moss. That, come on, man. I mean, 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards. We got to get into that with Derek Gervin. Plus, we got a whole lot more to talk about. NIL, is this the death of college sports, traditional college sports? I got some clips we're going to play for Derek here. So it's going to be myself. It's going to be Derek Gervin. Let's bring him on here. First and foremost, Sweep Unplugged. Go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV, be a subscriber. Hit that subscriber button. Sweep Unplugged. Grading the Market. Another episode came out earlier today. We got more wrestling podcasts coming. We got STL Music, Face the Sun. That entire album is out right now. Wimby the Future. That song is out. It's another part to the first Wimby song that was released. Everything's going on. Refocus Radio, Best Boys Podcast. It's everything. Everything you want. We've got the network going. It's 2025. Let's bring on the Hall of Famer himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Derek Gervin. What's going on, Derek?
Hey there. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm channeling my inner Coach Prime because I'm bringing the charisma right now is what I'm trying to do.
You already got that, man.
And I got
so you're ahead of the curve already.
Well, I got to give a shout out to Bill Belichick on the North Carolina hat. So I could be wearing Bill Belichick's hoodie, but I have to put the sleeves off. I just bought this jacket. I can't put the sleeves off of this one just yet. So maybe in time.
So what do you plan on just wearing that hat till maybe July? We'll get into that later.
Oh God. We'll get into that because I know you mentioned that on the text messages that we were sending out. So yeah, we'll get into the July talk here, man. At Sweep the League, we want to give a quick shout out to MCS General Contracting, proud sponsors of Sweep the League. Appreciate Lehan, the boys, Diamond Hard, concrete builds. Everything about MCS is great. Backed by Sweep the League, backed by Lehan, the boys. It's 100% guaranteed. Call MCS General Contracting today. And the one thing we've got to start with, man, I want to start on this entire Jalen Williams thing. So I did the math, Derek. Back in 1982, I believe, is when the first NBA Defensive Player of the Year award was given. Don't give anybody any hints, Derek. For those of y'all in the chat, don't be Googling it or Wikipediaing it. First guy to ever win it. Throw it in the chat. Let's see if anybody knows here. I know who it is. Derek knows who it is. First guy to win Defensive Player of the Year. Throw it in the chat here. We'll send you a little something. But since that time frame, 42 players has won Defensive Player of the Year. 30 bigs. And when I consider bigs, I consider center, power forward. And then you've got 12 guards, point guards, or small forwards. Now, here's what Jalen Williams said about the Defensive Player of the Year award.
I think they should add a third team, and I think there should be 2 Defensive Player of the Years.
Oh, interesting.
I got a lot to say about the rules. And this is not a diss to any big that gets it, because every big that has gotten it is deserving. Rudy.
Jaren.
Yeah, Jaren. But defense is very, different for certain players. I can be a really good defender without averaging the most steals. Herb Jones is not, first in steals. But if you ask everybody around the NBA who one of the best defenders in the league is, he's going to be in the top 5 conversation. So it's I think if you have a big and a guard defensive.
So you want 2, you want a but they have to be, you can't have 2 bigs get it.
Yeah. It would be
you couldn't do
they
Rudy
do 2
and
different
Wemby.
things. It's just a big every year. And I feel like it's just based on blocks. A guard's never had to protect the paint.
Yeah.
And bigs never had to chase a pin down.
All right. So I'm going to start off saying I get what Jalen is saying, an award for guards and small forwards, the little guys, and an award for big guys. But I started thinking, okay, could it work? Possibly. It could work. But then I started thinking, what holds more water then? Blocks or steals? Because they both, hand in hand are the same thing. It's a turnover for the other team. It's a defensive stat. So, I I don't buy the fact that 2 defensive player of the years. Honestly, Derek, when you first told me, I thought, man, here we go with participation trophy stuff again. You can't get first, so we're going to give you a silver medal for second. I totally get what he's saying, but then you're diminishing, the work that somebody put in on the defensive side. And I think it's traditionally one player. I still feel it should be. I want to know your thoughts on that because you may have a different thought on it.
Well, I've thought a lot about it since I talked to you earlier. And at first, I thought it was a good idea, okay? But the more I thought about it, I thought about that should be something that was possible for my era.
Yeah.
Because then you had the big men stuck under the basket and you had the perimeter defenders. They weren't switching everything.
Yeah.
So the more I thought about it, I was like, he just mentioned pin downs, about the big men chasing pin downs. And you and I always talk about guys like Isaiah Hardenstein.
Yeah.
You got Jakob Poeltl.
Yeah.
You got guys that actually can play out there on when they defending on the pick and roll or the pick and pop. So you do have bigs chasing the pin down today. So if that was like for my era, I would think it was a great idea. But when I think about it now, the way the game is played and all that switching, the big men aren't just stuck under the basket anymore. So I think the best player, the best defender overall is the person that should win it. And do you realize he just killed his own argument somewhat when he brought up Herb Jones? He said Herb Jones is a top 5 defender, right?
Yeah, he did.
Top 5 is not MVP. I mean, defensive player of the year, you usually top 2 or 3, you narrow it down to that.
Exactly.
And so Herb is in the top 5. That makes him a really great defender. But when you start talking about the defensive player of the year, I want to see the guy who's most impactful defensive player of the year. And with the switching game, bigs that can do it all now, they're become more versatile. And you do have guards playing under the basket now because when they switch off, you got guards under there, 6'2" guards guarding bigs. You got Chris Paul guarding a 7-footer around the rim. So it was a good thought, a good idea, but no, I'm shooting it down now.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I understand it, and you make perfect sense when you say back in your day it would be perfect. I mean, it would be definitely perfect. But right now, no, man. I mean, it's one defensive player, and the game is transitioned. Now he's talking about bigs guarding the perimeter. San Antonio has a big that can guard on the perimeter. I mean, it shows.
Well, that's another one. I ain't even named. Okay.
So, I mean, again, to me, you don't want to water down the Defensive Player of the Year award by adding a second one and saying, well, here's one for guards and here's one for centers. It's like, okay, well, go to the guard spot. Jalen Williams, is he Defensive Player of the Material just in guards right now?
Is his feeling? I think maybe his feelings is hurt because he doesn't think it's fair. Because if you really look at it, he's got 2 guys, and Shea is a really good defender, but he's got 2 bigs on his team alone that are guys that could be in the defensive player voting. And Chet is not even back yet, so we can't forget Big Chet Holmgren. So that's another guy that could chase pin downs. So they just got to give it to the best guy. I like that he brought that up. It was a good idea, but no, we're not doing the participation trophies. One defensive player of the year, one MVP, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's just going to stay one. Jacob Erickson in the chat says, let's do it. What's up, Rudy and Derek? Derek, I will never sell you a card you signed for me. Now, I'm going to get into that here in a second because we got to get a shout out to something like that. But no, Jacob Erickson.
Some more right here.
Oh, look at that. He's got more. I got mine. It's in the closet right here. I got my Derek Rivers.
It's probably not this one. It's probably not this one.
I have that one.
Oh, you have this one?
The Skybox.
Okay.
Out of the 2 rookie
cards,
Hoop and Skybox, the Skybox was my favorite. That has you going up with like the finger roll, similar to.
One I'm shooting a free throw on another. There's one where the rare that I'm shooting a jump shot. And then there's the one where I'm driving on Bernard King. So I got 4 of them, actually.
Yeah, that was the upper deck. The upper deck is where you were driving on Bernard King. Skybox is a layup. The hoops was the free throw. And I don't remember
And
the
then I've
first
got
one.
one you probably haven't even seen. I'm shooting a jump shot.
No, I don't think I've seen that one. I'm gonna have to.
Now most people haven't.
I'm gonna have to hit up eBay. Was it an international release only?
No,
Oh
they just
man.
don't. They rarely show it because I guess people think I couldn't shoot outside because of my funny jump shot, my form. But
Oh
hey,
man.
I've seen it.
Well,
Some people have had that one. So, but it's good that I've been blessed to have 4 different cards. And just for me to have one alone is, I mean, that's like being in heaven, my man.
well, man. You know what? You've got it. I'm gonna look for that jump shot one. I gotta look for it, and because I've never seen it, so I'm gonna try to look for it. I'm gonna try to get that one. I've got the other 3. The only one I don't have is the upper deck. I had it before. I don't know where it is. I'm gonna have to look for that one. But it's funny we're talking about this off subject here. Victor Wembanyama. Now he did that whole jersey swap with a kid, and then a couple days later, that same jersey is on Golden Auctions, starting bid at $10,000. And I actually tweeted out or X'd out or whatever the kids call it today, and I said, I'm very happy that Victor signs for the kids and he signs jerseys. He gives away his jerseys. I'm so blessed to have a player like him here because it gets the fans excited. Love it. But when you're a kid and you're probably 3 years old, 4 years old, and you're doing a jersey swap with Victor Wembanyama, that is 100% on the dad. And it pissed me off because the only reason to do that was to make a quick buck. And as a player, and Victor saw it, and he kind of put an emoji of like a crying emoji on there. So he did see it, but as a player, man, you're doing everything for fans. You're giving them a great fan experience. It has to get tiring if they're going to make money off of you, because there's a sincere part. You're there with the fans. You're interacting. You're signing autographs. You're doing this. You're doing that. And then you go right around and say, what the hell? Now you're selling it for 10, 20,000? I mean, that's kind of the reason why I believe Tim Duncan hardly ever signed anything, because he knew it was just going to get sold right away.
Well, it's sad, man. You're the way you're basically using your child, and I don't like that. It's manipulation. You having a child get the kids. We see the kids, and our heart melts. And that kid wasn't much taller than Victor's jersey, and so you have him doing this kind of things, man. You're doing them out of the kindness of your heart, and then you look around, someone's trying to profit off of your kindness, and it makes you reluctant to do it for other fans. And fans can be cruel. They get upset. They do things to upset athletes, and then they get mad when the athletes don't respond or want to sign autographs or want to give their time. Yeah. And it's because of people like this. That young man's dad should be ashamed of himself. Yeah. I'm not gonna say I don't know if it's the dad, the uncle, but whoever, it's someone in the family that did that, man. And it's a shame because it ruins it for other fans around the country. It makes other players reluctant to do it. So all the Spurs now know that his jersey is basically being auctioned off, so someone can make a profit off of it. And so now you got a whole locker room of guys that might be a little reluctant to do those kind of things. And then, of course, word of mouth, they talk to their friends. And then all of a sudden you got an issue now, the fans complaining that the players aren't being hand on. The players are acting like jerks. The players, we pay their salaries. You know the story. You've heard all that before. I've heard it all before, been a part of it. So it's sad, man. It really is.
It is sad. And I mean, there's the picture. This is the jersey swap that they did. Spurs, they retweeted it out. Best jersey swap ever, yada, yada. And it was a good moment. It was a very good moment. But look at the kid. Now, you mean to tell me that kid went home and said, Dad, let's sell this jersey because we're going to be rich? That is all father, mom, whoever. That is the parent right there making a profit off of this moment right here, when this jersey as a kid should be propped up on, or hung on the wall, just basically in a frame, everything. And this is what we see out of that. You see the jersey going up, and then boom, not too much long later, it's on golden auctions. Starting bid is at $10,000 for this Victor Wembanyama jersey, and it
Yeah,
sucks, man.
sad.
It really sucks.
You
It's sad.
teaching a 3 or 4 year old about manipulation already.
Exactly. It's terrible, man. It's so terrible, and that's something that we experience a whole lot more in today's world. It's about the buck, and like people are doing. You've got the whole streaming thing, the TikTokers, and doing all this crazy nonsense, going into Walmart and making a fool of themselves.
Hey,
Go ahead.
don't forget the ones that want to kill you because you messed up their parlay, like you told them to bet on you or bet
Yeah.
against you, and they mad at you because they lost money on a silly parlay. Smart
Yeah.
thing to do if you can't take it, then keep your money in your pocket and don't gamble. And definitely don't gamble on me because you're going to get the unexpected more than you think you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I get it, and that's the society that we live in today, man. It sucks because a moment like if it's me, yeah, you know what, Victor's jersey, cool. It's something to hang on to. I had 2 Tim Duncan autographs that I was blessed to get from a friend of mine who knew Tim actually back when he was playing, and I was blessed to get one. One of them I still have. The other one I gave it away. The guy was like, he told me, I'll give you $100 for it. Ah, here, just take it. I don't really care. That's fine. So I've had my share, but something like this, man, if it's my kid and he gets, if my daughter was to go get an autograph, she keeps it. I'm not selling that thing. And it's weird because in Comic Cons, Derek, it happened. It was weird. We go to the table. My daughter loves anime, so she went to visit her anime voice actors. And the very first question that was asked of my daughter was, who do I make it out to? And my daughter was like, no, just sign it. You can't put a little inscription. And that voice actor says, oh, okay, so I'll probably see this on eBay. And continues to sign. And I look at the guy like, are you serious? Just because you don't put to so-and-so, you automatically assume that we're going to put it on eBay or sell it right away. You're her favorite. You're one of her favorite voice actors. I paid money for her to come see you. I'll be damned if I let her sell that thing. So that's the mentality, man. And I don't blame the guy. I don't blame Victor. I don't blame you if you're getting bombarded with autographs. I don't blame you for feeling, well, hell, they're going to sell this stuff. But that's the mentality we live in today, and it sucks. It really does.
I felt it wasn't as prevalent in my era, but it still went on. And so, guys were reluctant because they still were. You had your auctions where you still could auction them off. You just now you have more outlets where you could do these kind of things, but it just goes back to everybody's not the best person, man, when it comes to doing the right thing. And the saddest part of it is you teaching this young person about manipulation at such a young age. He wants that jersey for himself. And even if you were to sell it, which I would never agree with, but think about this to show you how silly it is. The young man looked like he's about 3 or 4 years old, 4 years old, maybe 5. Think about one time he goes to college at 17, 18 years old, how much that jersey would be worth then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. I mean, it just goes up from there. And like the picture showing, the kid is 4 years old, maybe 5 at that. Maybe the oldest is 5, maybe. There's no way that, you're going to get a jersey swap, which is a cool moment in itself. And then, boom, it's up for auction, a couple of days later. To me, that's just ridiculous. That's just bad right there.
Well, it's really messing it up for the other people. So, some people don't have a heart. So
yeah, no, I get it. Talking to Hall of Famer Derek Gervin, Rudy Composition. Be sure to go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV, hit that subscribe button so you get all the content. STL Music dropped Face of the Sun. We've got a clip of one of the songs we'll play during our first commercial break here, just a little bit, but. As far as NBA goes, man, Jalen Williams, 2-time, Defensive Player of the Year. He wants 2 awards. To sum it up, you know what? I think we both agree it's just got to go to one award only. One person needs to win it. The big man's probably going to get more looks, blocks and everything, but there are guards out there: Sidney Moncrief, Michael Jordan. I mean, just to name a few. Those are the guys. Kawhi
Alvin,
Leonard, Alvin
Robinson.
Robertson. I mean, guards can get it, and I don't know. I think it's just kind of one of those things where you just got to kind of keep it
Hey,
tradition, man.
but here goes the funniest part, though, Rudy.
Yeah,
Why is Jalen Williams even focused on that? It's not like he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year.
that's what I said earlier to you.
So,
Like, where does
so,
he rank on the defensive player of the
so
year?
why is that even an issue? I mean, man, you better be focusing on trying to win that chip, that championship. Your
Yeah,
33-6 or whatever it is, 34-6. That should be his focus. These guys, man, the focus in the wrong places, man. We got the cigars, we got them hoisting players up on their shoulders. Uh, participation trophies. It's gotten even more out of control in the last 5 years, man. You remember what's his name? James Harrison.
yeah,
Yes, James Harrison. Remember he started talking several years about the participation trophies,
yeah,
and now
yeah.
here we are 6, 7 years ago. It's gotten even worse, man. It's gotten even more out of control.
Yeah, it's gotten horribly out of control, man. We're going to jump into some Micah Parsons talk, Derek. We're going to talk about this. Then we'll take our first commercial break. This is Sweep the League, talking obviously with Derek Gervin, Hall of Famer, UTSA, Rudy Campos Jr. Let's get into some Micah Parsons talk. All right, so friend of the show, Daniel Kelly at First Round Mock. He's a former NFL scout. And, I've worked with Daniel before, and great guy, very knowledgeable. You want to know how good he is. He had Spencer Rattler, his number one quarterback. He was basically, I mean, he's hit on a lot of players. Had Lad McConkey, most recently one of the top receivers, and you saw what he did this year. Just a heads up, he talked about Joe Milton also for the Patriots. You saw what he did towards the end of the year in that last game, quarterback controversy in New England already. He's really good at what he does, and I really, really enjoy a lot of his takes, especially this one. He tweeted this out a little bit before we went on the show. Possible big-time trades involving Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, Garrett Wilson, and whoever else could make things look a lot different in the 2025 NFL draft than they look now. Firmly believe it, because you, myself, and Gio were talking that Micah Parsons is more than likely going to be moved. And we had said this before the season started, when we started talking about, if you can sign two of the three, who do you sign? They signed Dak, they signed CD. That makes Micah the odd man out. So here we are going into the NFL draft season. Dallas can make a move. They can make a huge move. And you know what? They probably wouldn't even have to trade their first round. They could keep their first round pick, trade Micah to get back into the first round. There's a lot of good defensive players here, but the weird thing is you don't know who the coach is. Maybe in July we'll know who the coach is. I mean, hopefully before, but maybe in July we'll know who the coach is. Even when that coach comes in, there's no guarantee that he's even going to want Dak Prescott as quarterback. I'm just saying, who knows who comes in? We don't know who's going to come in. We don't know what kind of quarterback he wants and to run his system. You could have a Sean Payton situation where he gets there, he has Russell Wilson. That didn't work out. Bye-bye, Russ. Coaches that are successful want to come in and build that system and build their own system and build their own team again. But you got to feel some sort of way that Micah probably is gone no matter who the coach comes in, because they can get value for him right now. And real quick before you go, teams being mentioned: Detroit, Philadelphia are the two main options there, and also Pittsburgh. So those are the three that have been mentioned right there for Micah Parsons.
Well, you know how I feel about Parsons, man. He's a very good player. To me, he hasn't reached great status yet. But is he the league spokesman now for the NFL players?
Seems like it.
He talks a lot, man, and you know, I don't even today, like he kind of ticked me off today. I'm gonna be honest about it.
Go ahead.
They interviewed him, and he was talking about Mike McCarthy. So now all of a sudden, Mike McCarthy's a great coach. But if you remember, 2 weeks ago, he was talking about it was certain players he named that he was worried about.
Yeah.
And so Mike McCarthy, he was like, well, Mike McCarthy's going to be fine and this and that. You remember that interview?
I remember it vaguely, but yeah, I do remember parts of it.
Yeah, so he was basically throwing Mike McCarthy under the bus.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden today, Mike McCarthy's this great quarterback and all this nonsense. The guy, man, he talks too much. If they were to replace him, I honestly, he's a very talented guy, but I don't want him going to Detroit, bringing that nonsense into our team, tearing the chemistry up. So if he had to go somewhere, if it was the Eagles, I know it makes them probably a better team, maybe, because you have to deal with the outside nonsense. Yeah. And then, that could filter into the locker room. But I told you from the beginning, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get signed because of Dak and CeeDee Lamb. And here we are. So is he worth the trouble? That's what I'm saying. Is he worth the trouble? And that's something Dallas is going to have to figure out in these next several months. But we do have to remember this. They haven't signed him yet.
Yeah, they haven't signed him yet. And there's a lot more questions going into this offseason. I mean, yeah, you don't have Mike McCarthy. Your window to hire one of the hot coaches out there right now pretty much closed. So last rumors coming out was the fact that McCarthy had the interview or is going to have an interview with the Bears. Ben Johnson is pretty much, now it's not guaranteed, but it's very close to Ben Johnson being the Raiders coach. That's kind of already getting that wave's getting, really big for that right there. Then you got Aaron Glenn, who now kind of is mentioning the New York Jets. Stop right there. Either the Saints or Jets. Cowboys are now kind of being tied to Robert Saleh, former Jets.
I heard that.
Again, it's weird, Derek, because every day when we wake up, it's a new name. It's Dion's the hot guy. Well, I woke up today and I heard less of Dion, and here comes Robert Saleh. And then tomorrow we're gonna go to bed tonight, wake up tomorrow, and it's a guy you mentioned in the chat, Jason Witten. And I'm like, okay, it's a tree full of coaches, but you can't move on with your team without an idea of who's going to coach those guys, because you can sign all these guys. The coach may not want them. So there's just so many questions to answer.
Hey, Rudy.
Yeah.
And I'm not to cut you off, but I got to say on that subject, this situation, that Micah Parsons situation, is not the same. I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, they signed Dak at the last minute, the last day, whatever. They signed CeeDee at the last minute. This is a different situation because now, just like you mentioned, now there's a coaching change. Yeah. And we don't know how receptive the new coach would be as far as having Micah on their roster. So this is a totally different situation than those two guys. And it's weird, man. You're hearing all these names right now. Mike Tomlin now the new thing is what? Trading coaches.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, we're in the new era, man. And but I think Dallas, from what I understand, Jerry Jones prefers to make a quick decision as opposed to waiting and dragging this out. And I think because that does hurt you as far as trying to get other free agents to come to the team. No one's going to really want to commit until they know who the coach is going to be. So I don't think this is a drag out, but I'm trying to figure why he jumped the gun, man, and didn't wait on Bill Belichick and, not give McCarthy another chance. But it sounded, I don't know if you heard about the Mike McCarthy situation. Why it sound like they parted ways?
Over money, if I'm not mistaken, that the deal wasn't right?
He wanted to bring Witten on board as like the next guy.
Okay.
Yeah. So McCarthy didn't want to do that. So they were talking about, giving him a new deal, but that included bringing Jason Witten aboard, and he wasn't for that. It's been the latest talk. So that's why he just went in. They basically parted ways, and McCarthy
Yeah.
doesn't feel like he was fired. He wanted to interview for one of those other jobs, one of those other 4 or 5 jobs. So it's really they just kind of came to a mutual agreement to go their separate ways.
Yeah, and that's kind of the tough thing because let's be real. Let's call a spade a spade. Bill Belichick coaching the Cowboys is still not out of the woodworks. It's still very possible. And you and I joked earlier about July. Well, Bill has a buyout right now of $10 million, but if they wait till July when training camp opens, which is mid-July roughly, that's when they get $1 million buyout. But Jerry can't wait that long to make this decision because you've got the draft. You've got questions at, Micah Parsons. You've got so many things you've got to do that you cannot wait till July for Bill. If you're going to have to do it, you're going to have to buy him out now. And that's $10 million is nothing for Jerry Jones. He spends that probably in the
Not
first
for the
half of the
Cowboys.
day. So that's the thing is this coaching search it's so bad right now. It's bad. And it's going to get worse as every day continues to pass.
Rudy,
Yeah.
would Belichick prove a Bob? Would he pull a Bobby Petrino move?
Oh, man. That's a good question. I think Bill has standards. I really do. I think if he's committed, he's committed. Here's the part that I think of. If Tom Brady came to you and said, basically, we'll pay the $10 million buyout for you to coach the Raiders, and Bill turned him down, I think that shows commitment, or it shows there's only one job I want. And it's probably the one with the star on it. So I would say that if Jerry came knocking and with the big check, I think he would pull a Bobby Petrino type of move.
And that would break my heart because you got these young men that are looking forward to going to Tar Heel land, and then all of a sudden you have the rug pulled from under you, man. And
Yeah.
that would be sad, but we'll see what happens. But man, I right now I don't know, man. There's going to be a lot of question marks, but we haven't really heard the couple names. We even at one point heard Tony Romo's name, Mike Tomlin. So I don't know, man. This is kind of weird. But what team are we talking about? The Dallas Cowboys. So as you know, anything goes. One thing, they're very interesting. They're television, and that's what Jerry loves the most.
Yeah, it is. And to be honest, Derek, I'm looking at the commits for the I'm trying to look for the Tar Heel commitments here. I don't think they have very many, 5-star, if any 5-stars committed to North Carolina. They've got a couple of 4-stars, and I mean, that's really it. So let's be real. Bill, doesn't have a whole lot coming in when it comes to players. I mean, yeah, he hasn't really hit the recruiting trail because he just got there basically, but there's not in the famous words of the Three Amigos and, there's not a plethora of transfer guys heading into North Carolina. They don't have a whole lot of recruits going into North Carolina. So would it really be tough for him to walk away from that?
But remember now, it wasn't a lot of people decommitting with Colorado either. Now you've got guys that have backed out of their deals so they could go play for Colorado. So if Deion could get that, once Bill gets out on the recruiting trail and actually gets to put his imprint on the school, you're going to have some parents are going to be talking to their kids about going there. When you got a coach that played, what did he play in 8 Super Bowls? Won 6 of them, 8 or 9 Super Bowls, 9. And then you got a guy like that out on the market. At some point, you'll have someone that'll switch over from the schools they originally committed to and want to take a chance for North Carolina because, as you know, that's a school that has a lot of visibility.
Yeah.
And take away Belichick, it's a lot of visibility at North Carolina Tar Heel, and then you add him to the equation. It's something. These guys have months until they have to make their decisions. I think he would get I think he would get some 5-star players.
Would it shock you if Bill goes to Dallas in the next couple of weeks?
No, if they open because they're gonna open the vault for him. Just like I told you, the only way I saw Dion going is if he was by far the highest paid quarterback. I mean, coach in the league. Because right now, I would think I'm not sure, but I would say right now that Harbaugh is probably at the top of the list. Wouldn't you think, Jim?
Yeah. I mean, golly, it's funny because you say that because I remember we said the exact same thing in preseason that if the Ravens can't win the Super Bowl, they have to look at Harbaugh. And it's not a disrespectful thing. It's like you probably can only bring us so far with MVP,
No, I'm talking about
MVP
Jim
player.
Harbaugh. I'm talking about Jim Harbaugh.
No, that's what I'm saying. Because of the Ravens,
not
right?
John. No, that's John.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So you're talking about Jim Harbaugh.
Jim from the Chargers.
Oh,
The
man.
the champion Michigan Wolverines. That Jim.
Yeah.
So I would think that he's probably the highest paid coach in the league now.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
So Belichick comes, he has to one up Jim Harbaugh.
And he's worth it. I mean,
yeah, well, he wants the money, man. He's coming. Come on, I've said it many times, and not trying to be funny, but I mean, he's trying to up his standard of living now. You've never seen Bill smile this much. He's dating a 24-year-old, and he's trying to break the bank, man. Let's be honest about it. So if they gave him an offer he couldn't refuse, I could see him telling the young people and telling North Carolina, I'm sorry, I wanted to be there, but, he got an offer he couldn't refuse. And I could understand that. And I'm sure the young people would as well.
I wonder if the girlfriend comes along to Dallas if that happens with Bill Belichick.
There is no question about it. They got a new house and all that. Bill's living it up, living the life.
Oh God, Bill Belichick, man, coach of the Cowboys. The possibilities are there, and the Micah Parsons deal. When you look at it, I'm just gonna say I really feel like I felt in the beginning of the season. He's going to be the odd man out. I think he still gets traded. I really feel that Dallas may trade him on draft night. I really do. I think they may come back into the first round. You've got players like, Abdul Carter. You got the kid, Pierce out of Tennessee, Salton out of A&M. You got a lot of defensive players there that can really make a difference right now for a Dallas Cowboy team on the defense side of the ball. And you're not going to pay him a whole lot more, like a whole lot. You're going to pay Micah out the yin-yang. Let him go somewhere else. And if that somewhere else happens to be Bill Belichick says, no, I'm not going to be there. That somewhere else happens to be Pittsburgh and you get a coach in return. So be it. I mean, you could do worse. I mean, obviously with that, but I really think, I think Mike is gone.
He's a headache. Rudy, do you think he believes he's irreplaceable? Because usually when a guy is not signed yet, isn't that the time to really be quiet?
Yeah, you don't want to say anything to hurt your standards there to get
for your value. And and plus they're telling you that they're not all in. They're not bought all in on you if they haven't signed you yet. Yeah. He might be looking at it like they could give him $70 million, like they could usurp what they gave Dak. But that's not what's going to happen. So he shouldn't even be talking. He really should be quiet and just try to let this all play out. And I hope he realizes that anyone could be traded. We learned that if Tom Brady can be gone, anyone could be gone. And I hope these young guys start to understand that, man. Tom Brady didn't end up as a Patriot. I mean, come on.
It's a business. At the end of the day, sports is a business. And that's the way it has to be treated. Treat it like a business, man. If you are a loudmouth at work and you're disrespectful, guess what? You're replaceable. I don't care who you are. They'll replace you. You know, that's the sad thing in the everyday life. You can't be replaced at your workplace. And you got to move on. Same thing in the sports world. It's got to be treated like a business. And speaking of business, we're going to go to our first commercial break and our only commercial break of the night. When we get back, we're going to talk the business side of NIL, because after listening to what I heard, Derek, I think the death of traditional college sports is upon us. And it's funny because the former owner of the Milwaukee Bucks came out and said something that I don't like as far as NIL goes. What did he say? We'll find out when we get back here on Sweep the League. It's Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr. When we get back, it's NIL and Death Talk on Sweep the League TV. We'll be back, guys. Are you looking for a contracting company that gets the job done right the first time? Look no further than MCS General Contracting. MCS specializes in top quality concrete work, including patios, driveways, foundations, and swimming pools. The team of experts are dedicated to delivering exceptional results and unparalleled customer satisfaction. At MCS General Contracting, they're not just hardworking, they're local. Based in San Antonio, they are committed to building relationships and trust within the community. That's why MCS guarantees your satisfaction. They pride themselves on getting the job done right the first time, every time. So why wait? Contract MCS General Contracting today to schedule your project and experience the difference for yourself. MCS General Contracting. Building a better San Antonio, one project at a time. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League.
Exclusive interviews with Rudy and the crew. Let's go.
You are watching Sweep the League TV. Make sure you subscribe and catch our new videos.
Sweep the League TV with Rudy, Derek, and Coach Gia. Let's get back to the live show. You are watching the best in the business.
All right, welcome back to Sweep the League TV. Shout out to MCS General Contracting, greatest contractors out there. Contact Leha and the boys. Tell them Sweep the League sent you. Also, Grading the Market, another episode came out earlier today. We'll be replaying that tomorrow morning for you to go. And we're also going to do it over the weekend as well. All these shows that we do during the week, they're going to be broadcasting over the weekend for you guys. If you can't catch them during the week, you catch them on the weekend too. Be sure to check them out. The best way to do it, go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV. Hit that subscribe button so you're not left behind. All right, man. You and I talk NIL a lot. And something really kind of irked me, and it comes from former Bucks owner Mark Lersay. And I'm going to just let him talk to you for a second here. So here's the former Bucks owner talking about NIL. And I was like, wow, I don't like where this is going, in my opinion. Here it is.
I think it's a phenomenal opportunity. And I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a number of schools selling their teams. And the reason for that.
To whom?
To folks like us. Like, we're bidding on a couple teams, I can't tell you. But in essence, what we would do is buy 51% of the team. And, you know, I mean, I think if you look at a bunch of these programs, they're making 50, 100 million off of their football program, off of their basketball program. So it's a way for universities, by the way, because under federal law, they've got to offer scholarships in all these different sports. So they've got to update their facilities. So one of the things they want to do is sort of say, okay, great, my football program makes $100 million. We'll sell 50%, that's $50 million. Do a 10 multiple on that, 15 multiple, that's 500, $750 million. That'll come for them to sort of fix different things at the university. So you're going to start seeing more of that. What the schools need is they need money for NIL, but you can't go out and raise money for NIL because that's not a deduction, right? So that if you're giving $1 million to Michigan and you can say, I wanted to go to the sports program, that's great. But if you say I wanted to go for NIL, then it's not a deduction. So that's the issue.
Complications, man. That scared the crap out of me for traditional college sports because you just heard it. These billionaires are now investing, but they're really buying college
fighting
teams.
back.
Yeah. they're giving back and stuff. Derek, this is not good because now the thought of going to college as an athlete, basically just do away with the G League, do away with all that, because this is the point right here where you're preparing yourself for NBA, for NFL. This is the semi-pro version now, but getting billionaire owners involved in this and make it clear. We talked about it a few weeks ago when the Utah Jazz made those moves for AJ to go to high school and finish his senior year in Utah. Where did he sign? Brigham Young. Who were the guys that graduated from Brigham Young? The owner of the Jazz and Danny Ainge. So you're starting to see it now. I don't like the looks of this, man.
You're buying players.
Yep.
Well, I don't like it either. It's crazy, man. AAU has a lot to do with this too. I don't know. I don't get it. So now you're buying players, but these it's crazy. It's hard for me to even explain it, man. When I even think about it, because the Bansa, that's a good. He got his money, and so he was basically paid off to come to a school. That had nothing to do with education.
Yeah.
Had everything to do with go get the quick buck, and then you go to the NBA. But what would have happened if these guys get hurt, Rudy, on their way before they actually get to the NBA? Then what happens? What do they have to fall back on?
Nothing, because a lot of them aren't even graduating. I mean, and to be honest, they're in school, but are they really in class?
No, they're there. No. They taking the classes. They making clay. They playing with clay in class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Legos 101.
So it has nothing to do with education, man. And then these owners always got a trick up their sleeve, especially if they got to start modernizing these arenas and putting all that money into the university. These owners aren't just doing it for no reason. They're doing it because they're always going to get something out of it. Yeah. And it's really like you are manipulating these young people again, back to what I talked about earlier. And it's going to get ugly.
It's going to be real ugly, man, because if what he's saying is true and, owners are trying to get involved in there, as we've seen it with AJ, as we talked about, we see it with him. And then you think, okay, well, he's right. What's the way around it? If Derek Gervin wants to donate $10 million to UTSA, you want it to go to the sports program. But wink, wink, I want it to really go to NIL to get a couple of guys for the school here. Why? Because then go back to when you were in college and go back to, not too long ago. What was it? Friends of the friends of the program. That was all it was. It was under the table stuff.
The donors.
Yeah, I will give you that 60,000, but when you become an NBA player or you become, an NFL player,
I get my money back.
Yeah, I want my money back. So
So
it's kind of weird. Now it's out in the open. It's really out in the open now.
Are the owners trying to become? What are they now? They trying to become agents?
Well, I don't, and that's the part I don't know, because say Jerry Jones makes the big donation to Arkansas, and I mean, let's be real. Jerry donates to Arkansas. We're not going to cover that up. He donates to Arkansas. He's a graduate. He's alumni. I try to make donations to Central Catholic when I can. So because I'm an alumni, I'm an alumnus. So I do, I understand that part. But if Arkansas somehow gets the number one recruited running back, the number one recruited wide receiver, the number one recruited, defensive back, and it's part of Jerry's money, you've got to understand too that a lot of these owners are starting to position these guys to, hey, I want you to be drafted by my team. We're gonna see. I guarantee you, we're gonna see it with Utah. The Jazz is gonna be the first one.
That's what's next. That's what's next.
You're basically rigging the side of professional sports.
You're funneling players to your program. We're doing it on the pro level now, because that young man that's going to Brigham Young, and then really where. But see, that makes me start questioning the draft. Is the draft rigged, Rudy? The lotto, not the draft. Starting to make me question that going forward. Because Danny Ainge, they're not investing in that young man for him to go play somewhere else for the Boston Celtics. It's for him to play for the Utah Jazz. So
I will say
I guess that's where we're headed, man. It's kind of ugly, man.
I'll say that when that happens, it'll be 100% rigged, in my opinion. Go back to the Knicks, man, drafting Patrick Ewing. People called shame on that. People call shamed when Cleveland just so happened to win the lottery the year LeBron came out, who's from Akron.
David Robinson.
David Robinson. Also let's not beat around the bush. Tim Duncan. They had the third highest chances to win the lottery, I think, at that time, if I'm not mistaken. So
supposedly, yes.
Yeah, I think it was third or fourth. I know Boston had the best opportunity to win the lottery, and they ended up getting third in that draft. So to say, I won't ever use the rigged word, even though I know it feels like it's rigged.
I used it. You didn't use it.
I get that.
I certainly used it.
I get that. And I will say that, it points to that right there. No doubt about that. But I think if we see Utah win the lottery, not this season, but next season, yeah, I would say that it's pretty much set up and pretty much rigged.
How's that going to affect high school basketball?
I don't know, man. If you're the number one recruit in high school, okay, let me ask you this then. We got to go down this rabbit hole. I'm the number one recruit in high school. Nobody's better than me. Am I looking at Duke, North Carolina, Kansas? Or am I looking at the Knicks, the Nets, the Heat, the Spurs? What am I doing? I'm overlooking where I'm going to play college. Why? Because, hey, the Holt family is going to NIL deal for me to go to UTSA, play there, and I'm going to go play for the Spurs afterwards. You're going to be thinking further than what you're supposed to be. I'm assuming that's where we're going to be going here pretty soon here.
They're not going to even be thinking about high school, about college. They're going to be trying to bypass college again. And so that's another thing. I'm not be surprised if they do away with the and go back to where you can go straight from high school. That looks like that's where we're going to be headed next, because these guys, are you going to the school and then all you're doing is messing around for a year? You're not even in class most of the time, sadly. So I could see them ready to bypass that, going back to the 18-year-old rule where you can go straight from high school to the pros. These guys are not going to be focused on books, man, when you already know you got a multi-million deal, dollar deal, financial security headed your way, and you expect these young guys to stay focused, or young ladies, and focus on college. That's not even being realistic.
They're not. And you're right. They are gonna open up those floodgates again, to go straight to the NBA. Now I know we have a little bit of time. If they go from high school to NBA, do they get rid of the rule now of if you're not drafted, you can go into college? There's so many doors that you're gonna and so many windows that you've got to either open, close. Because if I go in and I don't get drafted, well, there goes my eligibility in college because I entered into the NBA draft. Now, if I don't sign with an agent, okay, cool. But most people are going to sign with an agent. Well, hell, most people are signing with agents in college right now.
They sign with agents now.
And they're doing it they're doing it in high school, I'm sure. Because it's not technically it's against high school rules, but AJ's got an agent behind the scenes. I mean, it's working out that way. So
the young man from here, I even wonder about him, man. I wanted to talk to him, and I don't know if he'll be straight up with me or not. Kingston Flemings.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I even wanted to ask him his family. So hopefully I'll run into them this spring or this summer. And I kind of wanted to just fill him out because, as you know, he's committed to Houston.
Yeah, he is.
And him being the top-rated player in the state, basically, right now. So, there've been offers from all kinds of places, right?
Yeah.
So what's the end game for him? Has he been promised the opportunity to go to the University of Houston right now and then straight to the NBA, one and done to the Houston Rockets? Yeah, that kind of stuff, man. So they opening up all kind of cans of worms now.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy because, when we first heard NIL, we thought, that's good. It's cool. They're going to get paid because they're worth it. They're making, like the owner said, the former owner, they're making $100 million from the football program. So, I mean, the coaches, everybody else, that they're not doing the work. It's the players. People are there. You buy a ticket to see the players. So I get why you want to make sure they get taken care of. But when you involve billionaire owners and you involve current owners for NBA teams, NFL teams, that's where the line is drawn, because now you're setting these guys up to go to your team, to make those moves. And that's where fishiness starts to really come into play, and integrity just goes out the door. That's where
you're buying players, and they're getting stuck into deals that they won't be able to back out of without being heavily penalized.
Yeah, it's not a very good look right now for NIL, but what can we do? All we can do is talk about it and hope that it'll change and it'll go the right way. But you're right about the high school to NBA. It's going to be back in there. I think, it's weird. I think Adam Silver kind of gets strong-armed into a lot of this stuff. And I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to start seeing high schoolers go straight to the NBA. And you know what? You're going to see more, and I hate to put this way, you're going to see more Lenny Cook situations than you will Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Easily.
I agree.
That's sad. Lenny Cook, great high school player, but he should never have followed the NBA trail at that time right there. Nonetheless, you know what, man? Talking about NIL deals, we talked about Jalen Williams, talking about 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards. No, we got to nix that in the bud. Also, Micah Parsons on the move. You guys want to see the replay? It'll be replaying tomorrow morning. Right about 10:30, we're going to be replaying this show here, so you can catch it in the morning. If you missed any of this show, the replay will be on tomorrow. We've got a lot of replays coming up. Sweep Unplugged, Grading the Market, Sweep the League TV, a bunch of stuff is going to be basically just reran all weekend too for you guys. So be sure to go to Sweep the League TV on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And you know what, man? We're going to end it on this, Derek. Do you think Micah Parsons gets traded? Simple yes or no.
Yes.
I agree with you on that. Micah Parsons will get dealt. Where he gets dealt, I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. We got some playoffs coming up this weekend. We'll get into some playoff talk tomorrow. Of course, we got the national championship game. Haven't forgot about that. We'll be talking about the national championship game as well as some other NBA doings and not. But until tomorrow, for Hall of Famer Derek Gervin. It's Rudy Campos Jr. Until we sweep the league again, we'll see you later, knuckleheads.
Everybody have a good night.
Are you a hockey fan looking for the latest on the Edmonton Oilers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and NHL news of the week? Barry and Carson Best bring it all to you on the Best Boys Center Ice podcast. They break down games, provide insider updates, and keep you up to speed every week. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and join their hockey family.
Exclusive interviews with Rudy and the crew. Let's go.
Wimby breaks NBA record, man. He ain't done yet. This guy is from out of this world. He's gotta be an alien. What is going on? Oh my goodness, this guy is really gonna be special. Ain't nothing to it. Wimby still lit. Wimby still lit. Wimby still lit. We got dreams, hit the fast lane. Took the stairs, real pain, no fear. We steady making it clear. I'm the captain, nice to meet you, but I make chess moves, no snooze. Bless you, we turning the impossible to possible. Doing what we do, call me Wemby, alien, flow too quick. You can't see me, just saying. The only thing that is your season, come see me, trust